Hello, everyone. My name is Chris. I got some stories for you today, all related to Super Smash Brothers. How are you doing today, Koopa?
I'm doing great, Chris. I'm not used to having this much alone time with you, though.
I know,
This is
man.
a little,
It's gonna get a little intimate today.
yeah,
Um,
very.
yeah,
This,
just some storytelling or something to that effect. I don't know. You always search for themes for these kinds of things, and then you realize that like conversation doesn't take such a structured format, but then it's like it's also kind of necessary.
yeah, I'm not used to talking to people without having a video game in front of me. But nonetheless, it was a good weekend for the video game that we've been talking about for the last, how long have we been doing this for?
Dude, we've been doing this for about 4 months now, and it was
Jeez.
a pretty that's what I'm saying. And it was a good weekend because true to form, what we've been talking about is lots of tournaments with lots of people going to them and lots of things happening, like a ton of things, and the kinds of things that are like real things, but like they shape a story, and that's sort of like the whole idea because this is something that like I could speak for locally, you could speak for locally, but the reality is Smash has sort of gotten its roots everywhere, not just in the United States, but like the world. It's everywhere, and there's tournaments popping off in pretty much anywhere you could think of now.
Yeah, so the one thing that I always notice is that number one, like we've talked about this, as the games have been out for a month and a day. So happy month and 1 day birthday, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah,
Um,
it feels like just a month ago that this game had gotten leaked.
or a month and a few weeks ago, depending on what kind of a person you are. But
That's true.
so the one thing that I've constantly noticed is that number one, there's a big event every weekend, which is not, anything out of the ordinary. Because when Smash 4 was in the prime of its life, in I'd say 2015, 2016, there was a major event almost every weekend. Now there's like two or three like large size events on the weekends, and in the past, I think that would be a problem because the big thing that you run into still to this day is that too many events are running on the same day as each other, and everybody's trying to get too big a piece of the pie rather than kind of make their own giant pie. Um, but I feel like because the game is just so hot out of the gates right now that people can afford to run multiple events on multiple days, and you can still like break your even mark or even make a profit out of it because there's just so many people that are dying to play this game. And that was definitely the case this weekend because even both on the local level for us and the national level, or the global level, I guess, if you want to count, if we're since we're going to be talking about Valhalla.
Yeah, man, that was a Denmark.
Yeah, it was in Europe. I don't remember exactly where, but I'm not going to dungeon myself off to an answer because then I'm going to get yelled at.
Same, dude. I'm not good at geography.
Yeah, I was never good at math, but this, no, it was a really good weekend, and you can kind of see some of those storylines you were talking about kind of taking shape. And I kind of called this a buffet style thing earlier, where because we're just kind of pick at it and kind of go at it. It's just the two of us, if you can't already tell. Everybody else is unfortunately
They're
having a yeah, they're seeing several men about horses right now or something.
forget about the horses, man. Like there was like three people we wanted on tonight that are either at a tournament or doing something else that is possibly Smash related. Like it's just like people are busy playing the game, like plain simple.
There's money to be had
Yeah, dude,
everywhere.
that's correct. There is money to be had, and the guys who can make that money, they're going every single day. We were actually just talking about this before we went live. The great Gonzalez, and if you're sub to us on Twitch, you'll be familiar with him because we do have an emote of him, the infamous GG's emote. He's literally gone to a tournament, I think like every day, like maybe 1 or 2 days off a week, and he's banking a little bit, not like banking, but like he's collecting winnings, which is I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's
But
also, yeah, it's cool. It's good for Gans because I know Gans definitely fell out of favor harder than other people did with the other game. But because I went to Kingdom last week, which is one of a bi-weekly in our neck of the woods,
Mhm.
which Gans went to and won. And he
Naturally.
just looks like and he looks like he's having fun, which is nice because like he's playing friendlies with people, he's yucking it up. He's not like Gons can be kind of a downer sometimes. He like wears his emotions on his sleeve
Oh yeah.
very heavily. So when he's not in a good mood, it's kind of uncomfortable to be around. If I'm just being totally honest, but he's enjoying himself. He's having a good time. And I guess, and it looks like he popped off a bit this weekend too, because we had our first big platinum star.
Yeah, man, we did have the first big one, and that's actually kind of what prompted the whole theme for today was sort of the results that came from the first platinum star. And first of all, this event had capped out at 96 entrants, and there was a 96-man cap put on it mostly just to ensure that the venue could comfortably handle that many entrants and everyone would still have a good time. I would have loved to keep going because the amount of just DMs and everything else I received about people trying to get in bracket, like that could have easily been like a 150-man turnout, like easy. But in either case, it was sort of the same old as far as results go. Gons won, spoiler alert. And
getting second to Leon,
Leon getting second to Gons. And the reason I like this so much, and I promise anyone who's listening in on this who is not local to New Jersey, we are going to break this out into a bigger frame. But in the meantime, this is, as far as local stories goes, this is a good one. So Gons is a person who has won a lot of Smash tournaments, especially over the course of like Smash 4's lifespan. He's won a ton, and the ones that he didn't win, he gets second place to James, who literally always wins everything. Now,
GG's James.
Yeah, second out of X amount of players, GG's James. But so I have the results coming up on the screen, and what you're going to see is basically not a single duplicate character across the top 8, including some people who had used a secondary. And you'll see Gons at the top, and you'll see Leon coming in second with the Bowser that we saw him sort of finish Smash 4 out with, like, pretty strong. Because anyone unfamiliar with the short storyline here is Leon is a guy who kind of came on strong in the last bit of Smash 4's lifespan, and he came on strong with Bowser. And this is after everyone had already kind of just picked up Bayo just to get some last minute results or whatever the case may be. And he comes out with his Bowser, and he's just sort of putting in work, man. He ended up getting 15th on the PR, like low key. And then now you see him coming out to the very first monthly of the PR season in New Jersey, getting second to one of the most seasoned veterans there are. And Leon actually also climbed over some other really well-known players, including, the likes of Wishes, who actually a lot of people are probably familiar with now. I know that Clash Tournaments VOD that he's on has like 1 million+ views now of him playing Jackal. I think it was great. Yep. Yeah, that's like the most viewed Smash VOD, Ultimate VOD from like a local, basically. So, taking out the likes of Wishes, and then like Lemon T's been consistent. Sync, he's like the all-around Smash player, always in the top discussion. Like, it wasn't like an easy feat. So to me, it was just sort of exciting and validating to see, as like we had kind of painted this around the last PR season about how players can emerge, and they do kind of come out, and then we see it here. You know what I mean? Like, we see this guy who made a big surge and just couldn't quite top, one of the greats in the Great Gonzalez. So that's sort of like the opening I wanted to start off with here, because this sort of thing is going to happen everywhere, right? So you have your established players, and then you have your new players, and then there's a mix of results. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, that's definitely true. But what you saw in the top 8 bracket, in my opinion, is people that have been established, like players like Riz and Sync and Wishes, Biddy, people that have been around the block for a while outside of Gons. And then you get guys like Leon, who kind of came on the scene at the end strong, like you were saying. But Leon, like you said, was playing a lot of Bowser, to my knowledge, of this tournament. I didn't get to watch too much of the tournament because I had other stuff going on.
Yeah, he played a lot of Bowser, and then towards the end, when he started to tough it out with Gons, he was playing Ridley.
Yeah, so it's funny because he kind of fell out of favor with Bowser, like for the first month, because he was playing Mr. Game & Watch, and I think he played Falco yesterday at a Spectrum or whatever.
He did, yeah.
So he's definitely experimenting with some other characters. But obviously playing tried and true with the characters, like you said. It's weird because a lot of people are, just a quick tangent, is that I keep seeing people saying how bad of a character Ridley is, but I keep seeing Ridley appear in these result threads. So I'm just like, I'm just like, what's going on here? Do people like, is he just like too is he too big to be bad now? Like I don't like where's the meme direction go from here? But I digress. Um, so then you get players like Leon, and then you kind of get those like mid-level players that like kind of never they were kind of stuck in like Smash Purgatory, like in Smash 4, where like they were good enough to like place like okay at the locals, but like not good enough to like break out at the events that matters. So like players like Lemon Tea and Kugi are players that come to mind, and they obviously performed very well this weekend. Um, and it's nice to see. And like you said, you're seeing a good mix of like people that have kind of left for a bit, like Corona, someone that stepped away for a bit, but is still he enjoys the game enough to compete. Atomisk is a name that rings in the halls of New Jersey Smash lore, both as a brawl and a melee player. And he's come back onto the scene strong, and it's been nice. And from what I saw from the tournament, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of character diversity. Which is good because if I look at some of these brackets and like I especially look at like the Valhalla bracket specifically, but like there's a lot of Palutena and then the one outlier in Wario, which is just like my god.
Dude, yeah, and this is the second time we've seen the outlier of Wario, correct? I mean, we just saw this last week with Let's Make Moves.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And Keitaro made a really good tweet about this for a while too, but I believe it was Gluttony that ended up winning
That's yep.
Valhalla this weekend. And he ended up having to win from losers because he lost to the German light in I think he lost in winners semis or something. And that tournament was great. If you guys haven't seen the VODs yet, VGBC does their partnership thing where they're tournaments give them the rights to use the VODs that they have, obviously to increase the viewership because why not? And definitely you guys want to check out those VODs. Everything was like the commentary was super, top tier because in my opinion, Europe has some of the best commentators that unfortunately just don't get to see the light of day because they live out in Europe. But everything was great about the tournament. I think everybody should be checking it out. If you haven't already seen it, go watch Leffen versus Gluttony. That was easily the best set of the entire tournament.
So and that's actually that's a good jumping point. So we got to see Leffen, and I believe this was Leffen's first Ultimate tournament. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we also saw another TSM fellow teammate Zero, whose first tournament was also this weekend.
Well, former TSM.
Oh, that's right. He's not TSM anymore. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about that. But former TSM Zero.
So you're a little off tempo with.
That's right. Yep, just a little bit off tempo.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so this is Leffen's first event. I believe he got 5th place.
He got 7th. He actually lost to Gluttony, which is a set you were just mentioning, and he lost to Miru, who came in 4th, and lost to, I guess, European Light, not the American Light we're familiar with.
Yes, yeah. Formerly, I believe he was a Fox, and I think he was a Fox main in Smash 4, Fox or ZSS. I think he played one of those two characters in both of them. I'm just paraphrasing for right now, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he was good. Actually, no, never mind. He played Sheik. What am I talking about? I'm talking out of my ass. So,
well,
anyway,
in either case,
I digress. That tournament was won by Gluttony from losers, and this is the second big weekend tournament in a row that Gluttony has won because he did win the what was that tournament in France? I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I know.
It was the Ultimate Rising or something like that. I forget off the top of my head, but he won the tournament over a cat who got 2nd place. And like I said, Keitaro made a really interesting tweet about Gluttony, is that how Gluttony was always kind of playing second fiddle to Mr. R in Europe because he played just a significantly worse character than he did, especially in Smash 4 because Wario was a significantly worse character. And, now Wario has tools to work with now. And, Gluttony's obviously on display for the world to see. And he's one of my favorite players to watch. Wario's a character that is just so, like, I can't pinpoint words. It's like watching, like if the Mona Lisa was just like a pile of dog shit. It's like watching Wario is just like art, but like it's art. It's like Garbage Pail Kid art.
I mean, the man's got serious gas. It's the pun works.
Yeah, he just likes he likes garlic, money, and farting. So he's me.
Yeah, I mean, who can't relate at least a little bit, but
yeah. So that's definitely a big storyline to come out of that is how Obviously, Gluttony's performed really well, and Leffen has been like kind of on and off the fence on.
Whether he likes this game, right? Is that
Yeah,
still
yeah. It's
still looking
like
for a main and
yeah,
just kind of figuring out the mechanics since they're a little more kind of like Smash 4 than they were Melee.
yeah. So I think the big thing, and Leffen made it as obviously made his point. It's very clear on how he feels about the game, but it's one of those cases where it's like, do I want to compete in the game or do I want to make content for it full time? Which is obviously like a thing you do when it's your full time job. Um,
That's understandable.
Yeah, and so I feel like he could go either route. Leffen is just such a smart, cerebral player. Like he's a student of the game, and he's very studied. And I would love to see how he's would take a character because I think he said if he's going to take the game seriously, he's probably going to play Peach, rightfully so, because that character is busted and would definitely like fit the reward
Well, definitely
and
very
the
high
work he
learning
put into it.
curve for definitely.
Yeah, Peach feels like a melee character with how many button inputs you have to do. Like the inputs per minute you'd had to do with Peach and Smash 4 was already insane, and I can only imagine how it is now. Um, but Peach having a huge performance in the States this weekend as well, because MKLeo did end up winning Smash Conference down in Port St. Lucie this weekend. Um, but going in second was Samsora, who went on a tear in losers. Like I don't think he lost the game until he got in the top 8 between losing in pools and then making his way into loser to its second place.
And Samsora was Samsora's just been kind of off to a hot start to begin with. Like this is he placed pretty well last week as well at Let's Make Moves. He's I don't know. I know Daisy is like a top tier in this game, and Samsora has been using Daisy since, or I'm sorry,
No,
Peach.
Peach.
Yeah, Peach
Yeah.
since Smash 4. So
But what's the difference?
yeah, but in either
Yeah.
case, man. So getting second, like in Florida here, and there was a little bit of controversy with this tournament. Not to take anything away from
Yeah.
it, because and we
Yeah, let's break down the top 8 first
yeah, before we get into that, absolutely.
controversy. Or in this case, who didn't make top 8? Because the big story that came out of this is that this is Zero's first tournament. Uh, I'm trying to think. God, what was the last event that he entered? I think
The
since last January.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been like over a year break that he took. Since he announced that he was gonna, retire from playing Smash 4. So I think it was at the end of last year. I'm not totally sure, but actually, yeah, it was. So it was almost a full year, if not a little over a full year. And he got ninth place, which sat one way with some people and another way with others. I know, Esam made a tweet like, "Oh, there's not going to be a streak in this game," and then the people were kind of like, kind of they're
Yeah.
harping on one direction. No, so I have a stance on that. Like, I'm friends with Esam,
Hmm.
and I thought the tweet was obviously like, it makes sense because it's easy to understand. Like, I'm sure people were expecting Zero to just pick up the game and just go on a tear again. And I would be lying if I said I didn't fall into that category.
Sure.
But because he's just that good. But a couple of things that number one, a year's worth of not playing like super seriously, it's hard to just kind of like even getting ninth place is impressive. Like that's better than how many entries were there? Like 480 something.
487. So
Yeah, so ninth place out of 487 people, that's still pretty damn good. And number two, Zero's even said that like his heart's not in it to be like the number one player in the world this time around. Like I think he's just trying to. I think when you play with such lofty expectations like that,
yeah,
it
you're
really
you're
it,
you're gonna drop a set here and there to someone who has the opposite mindset, and
yeah,
he's been a streamer first for a while now, and his stream has been pretty good. So
mhm.
you know, it,
He
it
drops.
It makes
Even,
it makes sense basically. So like while you said a lot of people did expect him to come out and win, like this is the first tournament in year plus and brand new game and hasn't actually gone to an event. Like it really shouldn't be surprising.
Right, and also something else that I think is different is that the game mechanics are just different strictly. Also, like for my knowledge, Zero was playing Cloud. I'd say about 90% of the tournament, from what I saw from the VODs. And in my opinion, the top tiers in this game are like the difference from top to bottom tier are like significantly shorter and smaller than they were in Smash 4 when like characters like Sheik and Diddy Kong were just kind of like miles above everybody else just because of the tools that they had that other characters didn't. So Zero obviously took advantage of that early, was putting in massive amounts of results with Diddy Kong, and then went on that tear where he won 56 straight tournaments. Um, but this wasn't the case this time. Obviously, I still think Cloud's a really good character. Some people believe that he might be the best character in the game, but I did see him go one game of Diddy Kong. I think it was game 5 against Mute Ace, and unfortunately he ended up losing the set. But nonetheless, ninth place for your first tournament back in over a year is impressive. Like, you can't scoff at that, and all the credit in the world to Sam Sora and Mute Ace, because beating Zero it takes so much mental energy. Like, I can't say I've ever come close to playing a top player in bracket, but talking to people that have played him before, like they say that just staying in the game and trying to keep it close is just like exudes so much mental like energy and fortitude that like eventually you're just gonna run out of gas and he's gonna catch up to you. But nonetheless, great event. MKLeo, making my nightmares true of Ike being like legitimately good in a Super Smash Brothers game, which puts the fear of God in me because I fucking hate that character so
Well,
much.
so debatably, Ike is really, really good because I also think that once people figure out how to parry and Ike's moves being so telegraphed, I'm not sure it's necessarily going to last. But in either case,
I fucking hope so, man.
well,
God,
he
I just
basically won a tournament with Nair. Like, that
yeah.
left such an impression on so many people. The amount of like Nair tweets that we saw is unprecedented.
Oh my God, I forget who made it, but somebody made the tweet of they said the Ike's Nair fucked my wife,
I knew
and
you were gonna bring that up.
it
I don't
is
know how I knew.
so,
I knew
dude.
already you were
It's
gonna
so,
say it because it's
oh,
crazy.
Chris, it looks like we have a guest joining us.
We do have a guest.
Hello.
Oh, you look, guy.
Would you look at that? What's up, Zone?
Hey.
Hey, thanks for keeping us for ourselves.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, you're jumping in on. Let's see. We kind of covered a little bit of Smash Conference. We were just talking about Zero's entrance back, and then we had
we
already
haven't talked
talked.
about the good shit yet, though.
That's true. Yeah, we did some of the basic stuff like Valhalla. We already mentioned, and
Mm.
so you didn't miss too much. But in either case,
First things first. How are you doing, Mezzy?
yes.
I'm doing fine. I'm actually I got like what 3 more days in Chicago, 3, 4, and then I'm on my way back to New Jersey. So
Back to
all
the
my
East
stuff,
Coast.
all
Back
my
home.
stuff's already back home. It's just me now. It's just waiting for me. So yeah.
Is your stuff gonna pick you up at the airport?
I'd prefer.
It's too bad I can't.
All right, so Mezzy, I don't know how much of the tournaments you got to watch over the weekend, but what, or at least from Smash Conference specifically. So, what did you think of the event?
So besides the drama behind the what was it, Underdog Boost, the day one of the tournament, I think it was a really good event. Like watching, especially watching like Sam Sora kind of like pin Sam Sora, not even just Sam Sora this weekend, Sam Sora and Meru kind of just pin Peach as like a terror in this
Yeah,
game because like there's not a single set that they were playing that you can watch and you can be like, wow, I want to play against Peach. Like, not at all. Like,
absolutely
that
not.
is a very terrifying character. Like, that's all I have to say after this weekend.
Yep,
Like MKLeo won the tournament, but like Sam Sora won like the mental battle for all
yeah.
of the viewers. Like,
It's actually it's really funny because when Chris had up the Smash CG bracket earlier, um, it showed that, like, how Smash CG shows you the number of sets that you've won. Uh,
yeah,
it said that Samsora actually won more sets than Leo did. We got second. It was really
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, dude,
It's just
Sam Sora
like,
putting in work.
yeah, Peach is a good character, man, but that skill ceiling just terrifies the shit out of me.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think I
I was gonna say
yeah, go for it. You're good.
I've wanted to play Peach since Smash 4, and even in Smash 4, I thought she was too hard. So I can only imagine how she is in this game.
My hands hurt just thinking about it.
So I guess we've avoided the elephant in the room long enough. So
Well,
I
yeah,
guess we could
yeah.
we could.
Zone just brought it up, and this is something that I've sort of not clamoring to talk about it in the conventional sense, like gossip sense, but like clamoring to talk about it in a way where it's like stuff like this happens sometimes, and when it's on a big stage, it's really just kind of crappy thrown
Yeah,
involved. But
it needs to be talked about.
yeah. So, anyways, Smash Conference. Like all of day one was played with the underdog rule on. For anyone unfamiliar with the Underdog Boost rule, it's a settings within Super Smash Bros. Ultimate menu that essentially, if you're down a stock or several stocks, you get a boost to your damage and knockback. And there was basically an entire day of this tournament played with that on the stream setup, meaning that all of those day one matches were conceivably very altered.
Well, the stream ones at the very least.
Well, yeah, the stream matches.
Yeah.
And there's been some statements released, but I am gonna throw on the clip just so anyone who's watching it is unfamiliar can sort of get the idea. But basically, you have Matty G playing Chrom, gets shield broken by Lucina at 44%, and then gets up smashed on the platform on Pokemon Stadium and dies from just like a fully charged up smash at 44, thus evening up the game. Like that's. So I think this was initially discovered by Nairo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Nairo made like the original like not accusation, but he just said that something was off about like all the games he was watching, and then everyone started putting on their detective hats because Nairo said so. I mean,
Yeah.
not to say against Nairo, but once someone with like a lot of influence starts talking about it, then everyone starts talking about it.
Yeah, and it was
the tinfoil hats were strong.
and it was like, it was pretty reasonable. The tweet was just like, yeah, just yesterday when I was watching Smash Conference, I felt like something was off. Moves looked like they were doing extra damage / knockback. I just saw someone say Underdog Boost might be on. Is that true? And then it just sort of went from there. And since we've seen some just like training mode setups like across Reddit and Twitter of people kind of trying to duplicate it, and sure enough, it turns out that Underdog Boost was on. And the unfortunate part was this was all kind of this is all still sort of happening. I think like a lot of the stuff is still even coming out today. I think the official statement from Vasith came out today, but
Yes.
and I'll get into that in just a moment. But this is after, I guess they had sort of shown on stream that they basically claimed that the rule was not actually on, like Underdog setting wasn't set on, even though like the evidence was basically overwhelming the other way. So like it got a little weird. But
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but because of Vasev's tweet, it said that it was on. I think the Matty G stuff happened on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Sunday when like all this started coming to like the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because the Vasev brought light to that in the tweet longer, so that's kind of why it was like a little hard to track down at first.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but like I guess the main thing I want to get into is because I know there's kind of a big, and I have no problem because it seems like the proper accountability is being taken. Vasith has been very let's see, I'm going to find that twit longer. Basically, the twit longer was along the lines of kind of, new position with MVG, first off, where he's coming out of region. Secondly, is kind of overwhelmed with all the responsibilities. It sounds like they had no shortage of work for him to do. And 3, he kind of came in late into the phase of planning for Smash Conference United. Like, this tournament had sort of already been planned and spoken for, and then he kind of came in as, like, somewhat of a management position for MVG, and that's sort of it. So he was kind of missing on some of the planning aspects. Now,
not to mention the Frostbite Hotel situation happening, where the entire tournament had to uproot and find a new venue because last year's venue decided to close its doors unexpectedly and not tell anybody.
Right.
And even though Vasev relocated, he's still like kind of one of the heart and souls of Michigan Smash. So that obviously took a lot of man hours to figure out. So,
well, right. So like, and I think that's fine with the accountability stuff. And like, I don't think anyone deserves blame. I do think it's a little bit funny that the rule set was apparently named normal rules LOL 1, and I guess people all day people were just using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of opportunities for this to get caught, and that it's understandable that it didn't, because for anyone who's unfamiliar, I'm very familiar with this because I've been doing it for a few years, like planning events and streaming and basically getting everything all together in one day. It looks very official, but like a lot of times, like it is on the backs of just a handful of people to make the things happen. And then when you're setting things up, there are things that fall through the cracks. Like I could really sympathize with that, and really appreciate that argument and just in itself. But like that, so what does that mean though with the results, right? So obviously this is the type of thing that would be involved in like PGR sort of like rankings
Well,
determination
the
and
PGR, the PGR rankings don't start until Genesis.
okay,
So
so
regardless of what people say about this shouldn't count, no one cares because no one started anything.
that's
It's
true.
a big it's a big event, yeah, but it doesn't count for anything anyway. So there's no argument to be made for that.
So I sort of chalk it up to still being in that practice mode of the game, sort of like that
Yeah,
sort of opening.
glad it happened here and not at Genesis.
Right, because
Yeah.
people are going to look now. This is a pretty good sized case sample of like a tournament because this tournament had a lot of eyes on it, had a lot of entrants in it, a lot of people involved, obviously, um, and yeah, it's
Can
who.
you like can you imagine like just like for hypothetical sakes, like Genesis having back-to-back years or like 2 out of the last 3 years of the rules controversy?
Oh no.
Well,
Like,
because
can you
right,
just?
this.
Oh my
Okay,
god!
well, while you're on it, Koopa, explain to everyone who's unaware of the original instance of something like this happening at Genesis 4, like that there was.
Right.
This is basically like a part two of that.
Yeah. So at Genesis 4 during top eight, something happened before. I think it happened before the Buzz played. I think that was like the first set of the day or something like that, or one of them. But basically, the first like 2 and 3/4 of the stream matches were played with the knockback adjusted down from 1.0, which is the default knockback, to zero point 0.9. And it makes a huge difference, as you can tell by some of the VODs. Like, if you know Smash stuff, like things just weren't connecting when they're supposed to be true, etc. So it wasn't found out until after Captain Zach had beat Komo Rikiri, and then they replayed the last game. Como lost. He didn't, the no handshake zoom in, and it led to like a huge controversy. And the Buzz was very upset, obviously, because he didn't get to replay his set against Zero, and it was just unfortunate to this day. Even as someone that's like, knows a lot about, behind the scenes stuff. Nobody knows how that happened, and it's just like it sucks because like you never want to be the person that this happens to, and obviously like eventually what's it called, like the Buzz and Como, I think they got like free entry to Evo or something like that, so they the TOs eventually made their peace with it. But it just sucks that these sort of things happen, like especially with like mundane stuff like the menus, like this, the stream stage stuff. Because only a certain amount of people are gonna have access to that. So I don't understand how this happens sometimes, and it just
Well,
sucks.
it seems like it was
I
just like a
feel
meme, like someone just did
yeah
it.
yeah. Well, I don't think that. Yeah, I honestly don't know like how it could have happened because we're not supposed to be like the whole point of like preset rules is so that no one has to ever touch them. So like if the stream setup was altered, someone had to have either saw it or it was the person that owned the setup to begin with.
Right.
It's funny
Hmm.
because this whole like rules preset was like, oh yeah, 0.9 will never happen again because we have the rules preset. Like,
Sweet irony.
think about it.
Oh man, it's too funny because like yeah, it definitely happened, and I still think that the normal LOL one it should have been a red flag. But in either case, you're right. So this had to have been either a mass of someone's already like pre-bought setups or a personal one. So I don't know, man. I guess all it takes is one filthy memer to just be like, I'm gonna do this real quick, and then just like if you're busy doing other stuff for the events, you miss it. Like what do you do? I mean, I could sort of relate to being able to, like, let's just say I'm setting up for an event and I'm getting last minute preparation set, and I say to someone, like, okay, you go make sure the system is set up. And then I just, like, start streaming. Like, I wouldn't actually go to the system and test it out because it wouldn't be my responsibility. Like, it really is a shame. So there's really only so much you could do from, like, a management perspective on this, other
Mm.
than just, like, set up the things yourself and whatever. But Truly unfortunate. At the very least, though, as you guys mentioned, it didn't really have any huge repercussions aside for some people probably being a little salty, feeling like maybe they could have made it further in bracket. I don't know. But
I think where the outrage was that people were saying, "Hey, look, this happened," and the immediate response from the management was, "No, it didn't."
yeah,
Like,
and you're right. That shouldn't have happened. And like there was that tweet that says like, oh wait, no, like we're checking the stream live right now, and there's no problem. But meanwhile, if you've ever watched a Smash stream, the game isn't on the system 24. Like it isn't on the whole time. So like you could be looking at the casters while someone's changing the setting. You know what I mean? Like it's very easy. So it was a cover up, and that got a little awkward. But it's kind of like that same thing, like when you're in grade school and like you steal something off some kid's desk and you don't think you're gonna get in trouble, and then the teacher calls you out, you say no, and then she's like, all right, just like let me see what's in your desk, and then you get caught. You know what I mean? Like it's just like this stuff happens, man. Like
mm,
Feel attacked.
it's
That
it's
was
just
me.
and I to be honest with you, I think it's perfect. Almost like the perfect, it fits the motif perfectly of like the Smash community being kind of like young and inexperienced, despite how like seasoned and how long the people have been in it. Like
yeah.
it's truly like it truly fits into the narrative, if you ask me. But
Well, enough of the drama part.
yeah, I just wanted to
I'd
make
say.
mention of it because I do.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah,
want
it was
to.
good to talk about.
I was say
Uh,
not
I, I,
again, not
I
to
was gonna
flame
say,
anyone. It's just
yeah.
it's worth mentioning.
Mm.
At least this took the sting out of people's mouths that the stage list is still not that great.
Honestly, I guess this is a hot take, but I like that Genesis is being very liberal with the first super major because like I feel like the TOs realize if we post a conservative stage list for the first super major, there is no hope for any of the stages that we cut. Like
That's true.
it's just the truth. Because once it
Yeah.
happens at Genesis, everyone's going to be like, all right, well, this is what we're running. That's it. Done deal. Next major is going to have the same rule set. If they go liberal with their rule set, the next major is going to be like, all right, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Let's make a different rule set. But I have a data set from Genesis to base my rule set off of. Instead of Genesis just releasing like a 6-stage rule set, and it's like, okay, these are the 6 stages that we're playing. Done deal, close book.
Right. So the one thing on the subject of that I'll say is that I do appreciate the liberalness. I tend to like lean more towards like more stages because it's easier to take stuff away than it is to add stuff back, just from personal experience. I know that I don't share that opinion with everybody around here. Like because I think other regions are obviously running whatever they feel like. But Nairo was actually the one that raised a good point about this, is that that he was expressing frustration that players still aren't contacted about what they think in regards to the rule set, and that something about it being another 10 years of the Illuminati making all the decisions. Because
Yikes.
I think that's the thing that kind of like rubbed people the wrong way, is that like it's just like the lack of like transparency, or just like asking if, or just the I don't know where the data is for people who are getting these stages from.
Yeah,
Like
I do because I feel like a lot of because when Genesis released their original rule set, everyone's like, oh well, yeah, this is kind of cool, and then Practical Task went crazy. He was like, this rule set is trash, blah blah blah. He started listing like hundreds of different reasons why the rule set was garbage, and I'm almost positive he was one of the biggest influences on them changing it back. Like, because again, like you said, there's an Illuminati when it comes to like the decisions that come within the Smash scene. Because if they listen to the players, the entire second half of Smash 4 would not have happened the way it did.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just like it sucks. Like the chain of command is obviously like a big issue in like not just Smash but in real life. Like there's just checks and balances, but like it's with stuff like this, I just feel like there's just more transparency is like what I'm asking for, because I brought this up like months ago. It's just like, listen, like if people want decisions on stages, why not just like ask the people that it matters to the most, which is the people that are, competing. Like I think stuff like, like timer count and stock count, like that could be up to the discretion of the TOs because they're the ones at the end of the day that are running the events, and they got to make sure that everything runs on time and looks pretty. But like stuff like stocks and stages should be up to the people that should be data pooled from the people that are actually entering your events. Like
Also stuff like not having DSR. Like I don't like
DSR is
like,
trash.
It's
Oh my
but for
God.
some reason every TO will defend DSR and every player will say no, we don't want it. Like that's literally that's the trend. It's always a TO defends DSR, a player says it's garbage. Like
You're right.
so
That is literally.
I don't know who the TOs are trying to cater this rule towards because they're like, oh, we don't want the players to be forced to ban a stage that they messed up on, and the players will be like, we don't want this rule. So I don't know who you're catering this to.
Dude, that's actually I'd never heard a player pro DSR. I don't think. Like now that you mention it.
Like,
yeah, man.
It put you at a disadvantage for winning the first game. But... who the fuck is Dave? I don't even know who the fuck Dave is.
Yeah.
Dave doesn't even know that the rule's still called DSR. He's like, bro, I think I changed that years ago.
He's totally unaware of this rule.
Hey, he's fucking selling car insurance.
He's like, I don't know. This is something stupid I said one time. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably selling fucking car insurance or something.
Stupid
like,
rule.
wait, they still name this after me? Yeah, exactly. But hey, what are you gonna do? Hopefully, Genesis is. I'm just waiting for it. Like I see it perfectly in my head. It's Game 5. It's a top 8 qualifier. It's your favorite player versus Luigi's mom 69-420, and they're playing on Castle Siege Game 5, and they're both going for the ledge on the right side of the stage, and it's that one instance on the stage where the camera gets obscured by a piece of the castle, and somebody fucks up at air dodges, and your favorite player loses, and Luigi's mom for 69-420 pops off in his face, and then smash Twitter and smash Reddit, just go to shit and start burning each other, scorching earth for the next 48 hours. Dude, I'm just waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for it.
First of all, Luigi's mom 69-420 is hype. Like,
I guess. Yeah, and he plays fucking like Shulk or something. I don't know.
That's the best part.
He's probably a Minato boy. We haven't seen any of those really. Because speaking of the early lines of this game, we were talking about it earlier, and I think this is before you got in the call. Nezzy was talking about how Wario is winning big tournaments, and like you'll see a lot of Palutenas, and then like you'll see like the off character like Wario, and that's like kind of it. Like that's like the early parts of the game, and I wonder if that's just because we're not playing the game correctly yet, or if like the tiers aren't as big a difference as they were, or
I feel like the characters that are more difficult to play, they are going to have a harder time getting early results. Characters like Peach are different because most of the people playing Peach already played her in Smash 4, so like difficulty is kind of like relative. They already know how to play the character. But like characters like Pokemon Trainer, they are very good characters, but they require a lot of hours. Like a lot of hours that a lot of players just don't have with the character in comparison to like the Wario players, the Peach players. And then there are characters that are just super kind of easy to like get early results with, like Pichu and Palutena, where it's just like they can rely purely on fundamentals and the character will do it. So that's why you see a lot of Palutenas in the beginning. And I again, other than that, it's usually Palutena, Pichu, or Smash 4 main is what I've seen.
Yeah, Smash 4 main. Smash 4 main is a really popular choice because I was actually going to ask you what's your take on Greninja, because we've been seeing Venia like surge in results and everyone like kind of on that bandwagon, and that was like kind of a thing earlier in the week.
I think it's too early to like, because like a lot of players that are doing really well with their characters main them in Smash 4. So it's like I don't know if it's like a good. We're not at a point where we can really talk about like how good certain characters are relative to the newer characters, because there are not enough representatives of the newer characters to bring them to the limelight.
Yo,
That's why none of the newer characters are making any waves.
yo, case in point, is Orion's top 8, because if you look at it, literally everyone mains their main from Smash 4. Light still plays Fox, Suarez still plays Yoshi. I'm naming them in order as they play. Shinji still plays Pac-Man, Venia still plays Greninja, Odyssey still... Oh wait, does Odyssey still play Fox?
Yeah, he does.
No, he plays... Well, I thought he played Palutena. Does he play Fox?
He switches between the two of them. He plays both of them.
I know Anti's different now.
Yeah, Anti plays he's plays primarily Lucario and Yoshi.
Weird. And then Stocktaker still plays Villager, and Nixie still plays Falcon. Like,
yeah.
Like, look at that.
So,
That's like New York right there.
Early Smash 4, all of the like Inkling mains, the Belmont mains, they're not going to make as much of a splash early. But I think it's kind of discouraging to some of them that they think that their character isn't good because they aren't getting early results. But it's not that their character isn't good. It's that you don't have anywhere near the amount of hours in this character that Smash 4 main player number 48 does with his character.
Nah, so, Richter sucks.
I don't know, man.
Cannot. That character is no lower than the bottom of. Like I refuse to believe it.
Oh yeah, I'm just.
I say, speaking of early successes, though, I mean, you've seen Gons around here winning a bunch of. I mean, I know a lot of them are just locals, but he's still like got his bigger tournament wins with primarily Simon.
Yeah,
he still kind of has his nest, but there you go. That's still former Smash 4 main. So
Simon's ugly.
Well, dude, but he's like...
You're not wrong.
He's way more... He's statistically way more badass than Richter, though.
Dude, yeah, okay, listen, but like, would I rather win it? Listen, would I rather win a tournament as He-Man, or would I rather win a tournament as Apollo Antonono? I'm just laying out the facts.
Well, hey, all right, you know...
Well, that's a bad comparison. You should say would I rather get second as Apollo or win a tournament with He-Man?
Yeah.
All
right.
There you go. That's a better comparison.
Someone's
then
gonna.
There's actually a choice to make.
That's true. Well played. And also, yeah, because like figure that last match that you lost in Game 5 is because someone absorbed your holy water, and it's aura properties.
Oh man.
But
Richter sucks.
Yeah, screw that character. But yeah, man, it's nice to see so many like just mixing names, quite honestly, because even in Valhalla, man, like you're seeing like Izaw's a name everyone's very familiar with because he's got like a ton of tutorials, and he's a beefy Smash Dudes guy, and then like the Return of Leffen, which we already mentioned, Gluttony winning tournaments with Wario. And then let's see. And then I know there's we didn't really talk about it much, but there was also SoCal Chronicles, which had Void winning, which is very familiar.
Before we hop off Valhalla, we gotta talk about this Ridley. Like,
yeah,
we can't just not. Yeah, his tag is like Ver. I believe.
Yeah, he got second.
Yeah, like this. That's something that we want to talk about in terms of like this should be like hope. For like,
oh, that's true. Well, yeah, new character.
Like a lot of new people that play are newer characters. Because I know like a lot of people that are playing these newer characters. I said this before, but they're not getting like super good results early, and I think it's like mistakenly discouraging for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you shouldn't be expecting to win tournaments over people that are playing the almost exact carbon copy of their Smash 4 main. That is already a good character. Like you're playing Inkling and you don't know how to deal with Fox. It's like, well, Fox does the same thing against every character. Like, Fox does the same thing against every character. There's not much change since Smash 4. It's not like, oh man, I can't win. It's just give it time. Like,
I am glad you brought that up though, because I did bring up earlier when talking about PSS how the one thing I see circulating a lot around Twitter and Reddit is that people are saying how like Ridley's an underwhelming character, that Ridley sucks. But I just like keep seeing these Ridleys like pop up in top 8s, and I'm just like, is it like? I just think of like that Mr. Burns or what was that like Simpsons meme where it's like, no, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah.
Like just with like that, except in regards to Ridley, because like I don't know how to classify Ridley. He's just like so fucking weird as a character, but like he has a kit that like works. Like
He does.
It's unique, and it's unique too. Very unique to just him as a character.
I showed you my hurt box. Answer my text message.
I think one of the things that I do think though is that I was thinking about this earlier today. The newcomers in this game, they sort of struggle because they were designed properly, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually were designed with like critical flaws, like good overall kits, but like their previous versions, like the Smash 4 and Brawl-esque characters, they're still kind of like they were still kind of like left alone for the most part. So they're still kind of their broken-esque Smash 4 versions, and they're not like balanced properly. So the newcomers are actually kind of suffering from being properly designed. That sounds dumb.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense as you described it. That's
like, for example, like Incineroar, he's actually the most properly designed grappler that Smash has ever had. Like, you won't find anyone that'll say otherwise. But he struggles because he's actually a grappler. Like, and like Inkling is another example of that, where he's like Diddy Kong in Smash 4 if he wasn't broken.
Right.
Yep.
That's Inkling. And like you can go down the list of like all the newcomers and kind of be like, well, they were given critical flaws. They were also given sort of well-balanced kits, and that's why they're suffering.
Yeah, being a Belmont main is actually like, I'm a masochist.
I don't think it's solo viable, man.
No, all right. Listen. Here's my take on it.
Said the same thing. I'll go.
Well, I was gonna say, because just like how Mezzi was saying, like, these characters are designed with fatal flaws. Like, Simon and Richter feel very akin to how a Castlevania game feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they feel very stiff in the air, they can't move, but they're strong as shit. So like when you win with that, like it feels great. The highs with that character are fucking fantastic. But like when you get gimped like sub 60 like 3 times and you lose in 3 seconds, like it's very demoralizing. But I like that because I feel like a character that's that strong and has like that, you're not playing Smash when you play a Belmont, because like some of the things that you do with this character is just like so like counterintuitive. Like I'm F smashing in neutral and you can't do shit about it, and I'm just like, oh fuck, this is broken. Like, this is amazing. So like I do agree that like a lot of the newcomers feel like very properly programmed, whereas a lot of the other Smash 4 characters are kind of just like copy and paste, and because of the way that the engine has changed, like you can't just air dodge out of like Mega Man's up air anymore and not get hit by it. Like you have to actually respect that move, or like characters like Zelda can actually juggle you and kill you in disadvantage. You have to worry about her shitty hurt boxes or hit boxes like affecting you. So like I do agree to like I feel like the meta will eventually catch up as people like learn to play the game and not just like they're not just hitting the same Smash 4 buttons.
Copy paste Smash 4. Yeah, like...
exactly. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing how like Smash 4 stuff doesn't work. It's really nice because even as like a player like who like personally didn't totally excel in Smash 4, I noticed that I'm forced to change the bad habits that I could kind of get away with in Smash 4 in this game just to like be able to play. Like it's nice. Just on a little side comment there, but
yeah,
Simon's still ugly. Just saying.
He's not as ugly as Ridley.
All right, well I mean that's
Ridley doesn't care.
I guess it's also like hard.
He's too busy devouring his next meal.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's too busy
while planning how to rob you. Like he's devouring his meal.
You're right. He's a pirate, man. He doesn't care.
He's too busy trying to kill Samus's parents again.
What a jerk.
Spoiler. I know me. All right, so we got anywhere else to go with this, or are you going to start?
No, I think.
Oh, you wanted to talk about SoCal, right? We didn't really talk about that.
I guess yeah, we could kind of throw it in there. The one thing I was going to mention about SoCal was kind of how familiar their top 8 looked with guys like Void, and you'll see Larry Fallen even just outside the top 8. Charlie the King, Elegant, obviously. So it's funny that the things that have been solidified. And SoCal being as strong of a region as it was in Smash 4, it's funny to see how solidified just their sort of base of players is, even their top guys, is even still in Ultimate. Like, we were talking so much about how we've seen newer names kind of emerge around here, and then you have like this kind of event where you see a lot of the same, basically, from what we've seen over the past couple of years. And I think that was kind of you said it, not me.
I need a struggle for power. Come to Tri-State.
So I actually agree, and this is the best.
It's good. It's good for scene growth.
The best way.
Same 5 people at the top for your entirety of your game's career, then your scene's not growing. Like,
the best way to end today's episode. I'm so glad you said it, actually, because yeah, man. I mean, the whole appeal of this whole thing, and the whole thing being Smash Brothers and having people watch it and people attend, is essentially to have some storylines, some interesting things that occur for people to come and to watch and enjoy. Because unless you're of the top ranks that are succeeding in the brackets and like you're good enough to go there, like it becomes disinteresting, even as a spectator, when you see the same couple people constantly placing tops. But I don't think that's going to be the case. It hasn't been the case for the larger like group of regions that are really active in Smash 4, or I'm sorry, in Ultimate, but like it is in SoCal, at least currently from this most recent result.
Pichu broke. That's
yeah,
a good
man.
ass character.
It is a good character.
Pichu's a Smash 4 character.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious.
It's not. Tell me the lie.
Nah, I literally can't. Like,
but yeah, man. So that's it. We're off to some pretty interesting, I would say, interesting storylines. And I will say, I do think it's a big part of the reason why something like Let's Make Moves was really successful, which is we talked about this all last week, where basically this region being the Tri-State, which is where we're coming from, it's sort of primed for this because there is no shortage of stories, man. You have people on the come up, you have people that are kind of trying to defend the throne, then you have other people who have been in the middle, sort of making waves here and there. There's actual context to be had. And that's why it's primed for big tournament stuff, because people are going to be getting hyped at all parts of the bracket, not just, when top
Not
8 or
just the
top 16.
8.
Yeah. Like the
'Cause
whole bracket is exciting to watch.
Yeah, because it's like at Let's Make Moves, like I was looking at the bracket and I was like, "Whoa, what the hell? How is Jen's beating everyone?" Like,
yeah.
and this was all happening while we were watching everyone else play, and like Trey and Venom are playing, going to Game 3, last hit, and like
Fuck C-word, baby.
Meanwhile, Alan is running through people, getting the top 8, like, and this is all happening at the same time, and this happens only in Tri-State.
Yeah.
I'm saying though. So before we go into the wrapping up parts, do we want to continue with our players of the week thing that we started last week officially?
I think so. I think it's a good way to end out.
All right, because I got one person in mind that I'm going to give a shout out to for my player of the weekend, and that's going to be Suarez, because he got second place at Orion, which I forget how many entries did I have again, Chris?
183.
Yeah, he got second, 183. But
I'm sorry, 174. Excuse me, doubles with 183.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he beat Venia. He beat Light in winner's side, even though he lost them in losers. I think he beat one other person that was really good. I don't remember off the top of my head who that was. But he's been on a tear in the early phases, man. But it's like Mezzy said, like some people are just kind of out here playing their Smash 4 mains, or like playing Smash 4 in Ultimate. I'm not really sure. I think the jury's still out on Yoshi, even though people are still like citing that he's like a really good character. But I feel like a lot of people said the same thing at the beginning of Smash 4, and you pay $6 and you just completely devalue Yoshi as a character. So hopefully that's not the case again. But Suarez is off to a good start. Obviously, he beat Cosmos at Let's Make Moves, which is huge for him. And getting second here to Light, he's his stock's definitely high right now, if I'm paraphrasing from the stock exchange. Shout outs to Has. But yeah, that's who I'm giving my my shout outs to this week.
Who do you got, Mezzy?
The Great Gonzalez. Actually.
Yeah, man, it's a great pick.
Every time I look at a Tri-State local or a Tri-State event, like it's just like, everyone said Gonz is gonna fall off in this game, and it's like
not at all.
He actually might, like, besides like Pasta in Tri-State, I think Gons has the best results. Like,
Well, he's been to everything,
like
like literally from
he's also
small.
like almost winning everything. Like I think his win ratio of tournaments, like to win loss, like he's probably won more tournaments in Ultimate than he's lost, and like a lot of those are not just weeklies.
No, you're right, because he's
Like
hitting up small weeklies, winning those, then he's going to bigger kind of regionals, and then like he's going to all the big events and
Gons
getting the results.
Gons and Pelka are out here covering so much surface area because they're literally like we were just talking about it before the stream started. But Pelka went to fucking Kumite this weekend, and I'm saying that's in fucking Tennessee, and I'm just like, how is this guy all over the place? Like I know he's going to Genesis. He's literally like they literally have clones of themselves all over the place. But I'm glad you brought up Gons because what I also said about Gons earlier is that he's having fun again, which is nice because Gons like it's kind of a chore to be around somebody that like is very vocal about how they dislike the game like that much.
yeah,
I know because Gons wears his emotions on his sleeve a lot, and like I can't fault him for that. But he's having a lot of fun. Like he just looks like he's enjoying himself a lot more at events, which is awesome. So good for him.
yeah, and he's playing a character that like he gets to actually play a character that like he vibes with. Like I don't
Yeah,
like on more than just this character is broken. Like I actually like this character. Like play Castlevania, please. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
man.
how many times. I don't know how many times he's made him start playing.
The
Castlevania
irony,
games, and I just ignore him.
the
'Cause,
irony of a retro gaming collector hitting it off with like one of the best retro games ever. It's nice. For me locally, I gotta tell you, Stocktaker's been speaking of stocks going up. Stocktaker, I think he just won this past Aeon. He got second last week, and I think he got seventh at Orion. He's been very consistent himself. There's actually a lot of good names in New York right now to talk about, including guys like Venya, who I think he won last week, and also got fourth in Orion. But yeah, those are probably my couple guys.
New York, nice.
But yeah, so I think that's going to cover it for this week. Hopefully, y'all listening are digging this kind of stuff. We are still kind of finding our format a little bit. As we mentioned earlier, we would like to have more guest players, but the problem is with the players is they're out playing, plain and simple.
But remember, Chris, so now that we're on SoundCloud, we have to audibly plug our Twitter handles now for the people watching at home
Oh, you're right.
or listening at home.
Yeah, so we do have a SoundCloud now, and for anyone interested in listening to the stuff on the go and not being bunkered down by all the data required by YouTube, you can find us at soundcloud.com/MHGGO. That's MHGGO. And that's where you could find us. And sort of Twitter ats, you could find me at @CSantosZX.
I'm at Koopa NJ.
I'm at Zoan1P. That's ZOAN actually.
1P. And then, yeah, as always, the Master Hand Gaming Twitter handle, which is at Master Hand Games. So if you guys ever have any suggestions for things you'd like to hear talked about, or any kind of player you'd like to see shouted out, or something that we're missing that's happening, whether it be locally or anywhere else, feel free to do that. There's also the Discord server. You could find that linked in a lot of places. It is on Smash Chords, representing the New Jersey server. So, yeah, no shortage of ways to reach us. If you are enjoying this stuff, any kind of shares, likes, all that stuff really does go a long way with search analytics, so we do appreciate that. But otherwise, we're going to catch you next week. Thanks for watching, and bye.
Ciao.
Simon's ugly.
Hey, be nice.
No.